What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we're taking a look at this Uldanov Knives Sierra. I have not looked at what's inside this yet, and we're going to kind of experience this together. I should also say I haven't even experienced one of these knives ever, and obviously I've got a lot of Russian knives, CKFs, lots of Shirgorovs, so it's kind of cool to get another taste of one. So pretty excited about that. So let's crank into the inside of this and take a look. And I guess before we get started as well, guys, feel free to visit my website, BladeZilla.ca. We're in Canada and have whatever's listed on the site in stock, ready to go. Doesn't oversell, so whatever's there is in stock. Yeah, just got some McNeese stuff, which is awesome. Just grabbed this super cool TI2 F95 from Shiro, and a host of other CKF knives as well. And actually I've got another stack of CKF stuff that'll probably be coming up following this video based on my complete packed schedule, it seems, lately. So first impressions, obviously, of this knife. Let's get into that. First of all, I love that it's a hard shell case. It's not soft. It's almost got like a nylon kind of liner inside it that kind of keeps it nice and tight. That's what she said. Let's go. Love that, actually. Super soft inside, and let's grab this. It looks like you've got a COA here. It's upside down, and a knife, and anything else. I think that's it. Oh, sick. I love that. Like, that's a nice little, what'd you call that? Like tartan kind of vibe inside there. That's cool. It's a heavy case. Okay, so here we go. This is the Sierra COA, which is ultra shiny, actually, and it's kind of giving the camera a little bit of a freak out. There's some metallic in there. So model Sierra ZDI 1016, titanium and carbon, so it's going to have some inlays on this one. Renar Uldanov, so that's obviously the designer. Looks like it was made in January. I don't know how in Russia, I don't know if they do the same dating structure as us. It could be March 1st, 2024. It could be January 3rd, 2024. And then the number. So this is number 93. So they always say the first 100 are kind of what you want to get your hands on. So let's take a look here. Ooh, the cloth is actually labeled. And there we have it. Oh, baby. Actually, let's show that cloth real quick, because people will ask to see that. So there you go. Very similar to actually a Shiro cloth, quality-wise. Very similar, a little thinner, but very similar. So there we go. End of review. We're done. We're not even going to look at it. I'm just kidding. Well, where to start? Whoa, there are some crazy, crazy layers to that carbon that pop right away. I don't know who their supplier is on this, but it's very, very carbo quartzy, and it's got a lot of milling on it too. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. Hopefully you're watching this in 4K. You can kind of see what we're working with, but that looks terrific. Flip that over on the back side as well. Ooh, beautiful, beautiful carbo on that. And just the milling on the titanium. So a couple things that I noticed right off the hop, and we're going to open this and kind of go through it, but it's got some heft to it. It feels solid, and I love how on the milling you can kind of see how it appears to go from kind of like tighter specked milling around the pivot, and it kind of opens up towards the pivot bead, I think is what I'm seeing here. Are you guys seeing that too? I'll try to get around that pivot bead and show you what I'm talking about. But the gaps between the lines actually grow a little bit from compared to around the pivot. So that's very high-end millwork, which is cool. And I think, anyway, unless my eyes are betraying me, which they usually do, it is a front flipper, but we're just going for a lap around. Oh, cool. We've got number 93 stamped of some kind, or it looks like laser etched on the Damascus steel in there. Looks like a titanium stone-washed backspacer. And then looks like we've got a clip that goes down about halfway, which rests on top of the carbon. And once again, I love how that carbon actually continues underneath the clip. so you're not going to pull that up or peel it up as you kind of use the knife. So really just clever design choices on that. They obviously offer this in a number of configurations, and this is the one that I got. So let's take a look at, feel that detent. Oh, it's nice. Nice for a front flipper. And before we do this, I just want to show, where's my burger? I never show this knife, but there's a burger, Urban, for size comparison, which is another beautiful front flipper. And that will be probably the one we're going to be looking at the most comparatively. So pretty light on the detent. I'd say medium light, but definitely what you want on a front flipper. And there we go. I might even need to zoom this guy down a little bit, eh? What do we think of that? Pretty nice, huh? I think this thing looks sick. That Dama pattern. Ooh, we got a good one. It's almost like we've got pops of stars down the center line. Wow. Well done. And also looks like we might even have a tiny bit of a mirror on that edge as well. I haven't looked at the other side, but oh my gosh, can we imagine if it's matched? Oh, it is. Gorgeous. Gorgeous patterning on this one. It's just cool. I love Damascus steel just because even if you're buying, you know, what did I say? This was 93 or 97 or something. Nugent Hopkins versus McDavid, just saying. You know, anytime you have something where you get Dama, it just creates such a unique experience with a lot of that. And that's gorgeous. Very well done, that blade. Oh, gorgeous. When I first saw this, I was really expecting like another Trevor Burger Urban. And quite a bit different, but a lot going on in it. So let's kind of get some size comparisons between the two. Just to kind of see. So quite a bit bigger than the Burger. And obviously with that, quite a bit heavier, right? And I didn't even look at the inside of this to see what we're kind of working with on the milling and the skeletonization, but we're going to get there. It's, you know, when I start kind of talking in circles and I start getting excited and giddy, it's a sign of a good knife. And I think that this one is definitely up there. Okay, so let's take a peek inside here. Grab my little light, a tiny little light, and see what we're working with. It looks like we've got some skeletonization in there, some kind. We do have a little bit, not a ton. It looks like could be more, but I imagine that also has to do with how they lay in the inlay, right? Because that's got to take up some space on the outside. And then on the inside, we're probably not peeling out as much as possible. Underneath the back spacer, nice and simple. And then actually, if we flip this around, there is some milling on the other side as well. So very nicely done. Nothing crazy, but it certainly has some pockets in there, which is kind of what you want. Nothing more, nothing less. We've got a nice angle bevel cut on the lock bar. Actually, both sides have a bit of a bevel on it, so that's interesting, right? So your finger wants to fall in. It's not raised as far as I can tell. I always like to roll the knife. I'm scratching my eye here, but I always like to roll the knife, and so it is not raised. And when I say it's not raised, I would kind of, where's my hattie here? This is what I always like to show it with. And how the lock bar on Shirogorov, see how it's on the inside right here? It's just raised up a little bit, right? And that means you find it a little easier. And if I grab that Trevor Burger Urban, I believe that one is, it might just have the bevel on it, but I don't think it's raised much. Or it might, yeah, that's right. It's got a very slight raise on the back here, but relatively minimal. But the bevel, that's the important part. So beautiful. I think that's well done. It looks like we've got an over travel stop right here. It's like the root of a molar hanging down so that that lock bar cannot over travel, right? Because this for new to the knives, and I imagine if you're watching this, you probably wouldn't be if you're interested in purchasing this, but this knife, or this titanium scale over here, is one piece. So what they do is they bend it from the factory and the maker to engage a certain amount of lockup, and that's a fine thing to be able to do. Some knives have a ton of engagement on that lock. Others are very light. I would probably put this on the lighter end, but certainly good, nice and solid, no play. Where am I going with this? Yeah, so as you have that over travel stop and you're constantly locking and unlocking, you just don't want that to over travel and bend that factory bend back, if that makes sense. But very simple design, very, no real issues. It's kind of interesting how the front of the knife feels boxier than the back. Your hands really nicely find the back of this handle, but it's a little boxy up front. It's just a different feel. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. It's just a different philosophy, but the back of the knife, you certainly, that nice, fine recession there. Your hands fall in that quite nicely. Up front, there's not a whole lot of sculpting, but that's fine as well. Oh, and the pivot's got a blank on the back. I didn't even mention that. I guess I should talk hardware. We've got, looks like T25 and T15s on here, right? And then there must be some kind of, I don't know how, I'm not going to take this apart, but obviously to have that cap on there, there must be some sort of hold on the back on the other side, which is nice. Beautifully done. Very consistent on the engagement. It's a really cool knife. Front flippers I've always just, kind of compared to Trevor Berger's. And this is just a gorgeous example of a front flipper, but it's bigger, right? And maybe I'll show some Shiros here, the standard ones I like to show, just to kind of provide some comparison. So let's grab my Neon, which, geez, there's a Neon. So it's basically Neon sized. I would say a little tiny bit bigger than a Neon, but not by much. And we'll grab my my Quantum. There you go, trying to line up the pivots. So there's your comparison, and remember, if we flip these guys around, there's a camera angle. I lean this down and have a light shooting, so it does change the perspective a little bit. Towards the front of the camera or the bottom, it's going to appear bigger. But yeah, it is about the size of a Neon. A little bit taller in the handle, but for the most part, it's still a nice sizable knife. And I like the Neon. I've been carrying a Neon Light for a while now, and it's just a really good proportion size knife. Really, really like that knife, that Neon. Oh, actually, I like them all. Super smooth. It has to be on bearings because I can feel some slight notchiness, which could also be the detent ball on the Damascus steel itself. But that is an absolute looker, and I'm really surprised at the quality of this. When I first saw these come up in the last couple months, I kind of resisted bringing some in because I was like, I haven't heard much about it, and who knows if there's a market. And then you start watching some reviews on YouTube, and you go, hey, you know what? Maybe I will take a look at one. And now it comes in, and I take a look at that blade, and I feel the weight of this thing. It's well made. It's a beautiful knife. It's oh my god. It's certainly worthy to carry. There's a couple tweaks that I'd probably make. The question is like, you look at that inlay and you go, why are you putting a pattern in the middle of it? And that takes more work to kind of split these, right? And it looks like they still matched up the profiling on that carbon fiber too. Like, are we noticing that? It's not two separate pieces. They actually cut it and organized it and matched it up. See what I'm saying here? The bulb, a little roll there that kind of continues the pattern of the rolling up here. It's all matched. So, the simple way would be, there was a carbon inlay. let's just slap an entire cutout of the entire handle and we'll put it on there, and that'll be what we do. You know, it's easier, less work. This one, they're like, no, we want that design. So that's kind of cool. I'm curious on the other side if it's matched as well. It doesn't, it might be. Could be. The rolls do kind of line up. So really cool. It's different, right? And different's not, you know, when you're used to a Shiro, like I'm an absolute Shiro whore, so you guys know that. There's no hiding it. That's my standard, and this is just really well done. Really, really well done. You know, it's, what's that old saying? Keep it simple, stupid. I think that's what this is. You know, jimping, super long, very nice, comfortable, it's pretty smooth. You know, matches the back spacer as well. They're just doing a good job. Who's this knife for? You know what? I can confidently tell you this knife is for someone that likes imports, likes high quality, probably is a big fan of front flippers, obviously. But it'll be for the person that, you know, you're going to go to a knife meet and no one else is going to have one of these. You're going to be the only one. And it may not be loud, it may not be super, you know, it's not a Microtech stitch, but they're so unique individually, and it's a classic design, well done, high quality materials, high quality level of craftsmanship. You know, less than 100 of these worldwide currently. That'll change. Just based on the design, it's nice. And, you know, right now, I think they're, for the most part, they're sub $1,000 US table price. And, you know, you look at, you know, Damascus alone, titanium front flippers, you go, like, you could easily charge, $1,400, $1,500 US for this knife in its current configuration without flinching. Like, that's absolutely doable. You know, you look at the clip internally attached, you look at the internal milling, back spacer, just, it ticks all the boxes of that $1,500 price point. And roll into the fact that it's Damascus. You know, they could easily ask for more. It's a beautiful knife. I actually am going to probably try to bring in some more of these now that I've experienced this and got to know it. I just don't see why I wouldn't bring in more of these. Proportions are right. I didn't weigh it, and I apologize once again if my ADHD gets away on me when I get excited over sharp things. It's a disease, and I apologize. But let's zero that out. And any guesses? It feels less than 4, but 3.5-ish. Yeah, I'll just take that. Well, you guys just witnessed like the one out of like, how many videos do I have up? Weighing things, guessing weights? I got it. That's awesome. 3.5. Okay. I was a little worried there just because of the weight of Damascus steel tends to be a little higher, so that's why I was like, it's probably capped at 4. But, you know, and I guess I'll do measurements too. What am I doing today? What am I doing? Okay, let's get a measurement on this guy. I normally do this at the front of videos, but because of my excitement, I apologize. So I said it was 3.5 ounces, and it looks like we're at about a 3 1/4 to the center of the choil. Am I seeing that right? 3 3/8 to the kind of that line on the blade. Yeah, 3 1/4 I'd say. Handle-wise a little bit bigger, 4 1/4, 4 3/8, depending on your eyes. So quite a bit bigger handle to blade ratio than say a Neon. But makes good use of it, right? And let's just take a look at the tolerances on that. So dead center, obviously, but we still have quite a bit of room back here. So that's probably why. Also, that's how much of this is going to stick out of your pocket with the clip. And the camera's just trying to find something to focus on. There we go. You know, pretty good. And then, obviously, we didn't touch on this, but we obviously have that lanyard hole. Very similar to like a Stellar, and that you've kind of got a sight line through there, which is cool because it is a boxier knife and that fits that profile very nicely. And I certainly think this is going to be a very desirable type knife. Like, if I can continue to bring in more of these, Is there demand for it in Canada? Please let me know. Because it's unique, it's titanium, it's got and obviously we can bring in other configurations that are not Damascus, but you know, we can bring, I think they're doing M398 on a lot of them. I'd have to double check, but I think that's what they're doing. Bowler, Russia, yeah, I think they'd probably use a bowler. Gorgeous knife. Absolutely gorgeous knife. I wish, I'm going to have to get one of these and carry them. Give it a good good user, because it just seems like it's well done. Everything from that little stonewash pivot, big thick hardware, nice back spacer, individually numbered, that carbo that kind of matches the blade configuration with the plumes, which is beautiful. You know, a long clip, which I always much prefer, a little bit deeper of a clip. You know, the carbon that goes behind and underneath the clip itself. We've got hardware that is on both sides, obviously, accessible, which is nice. If you strip, you can still get one side off. Metal lock, or yeah, obviously lock bar insert, front flip design. You know, I would love to see a flipper version of this. This would be super sick. If they're able to do that, I would love a flipper version of this, because I'm just a bit of a flipper guy. You know, good ergonomics, feels a little boxier than I'm used to, but that's also just a different maker and design, but it's certainly functional. And jimping's nice and long, nice flat top down to the blade. I think this is going to be a hot seller. I think it's just going to be a well done knife, and I could see them being very popular. Very photogenic as well, and unique. You're not going to see too many of these at a lot of the meetups. So there you go. That is the Uldanov Sierra in Damascus, and going to be throwing this one. This one will be up on the site. I only have the one because it was a bit of a trial, so I'll be throwing this guy up, and the lucky buyer will have hopefully a 10-15 minute video of me rambling about it to look forward to. Pretty exciting. Alright guys, check out BladeZilla.ca, and like, follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I just created a page on there as well. I should have probably done that first, but I created that. So, you know, reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, have yourself a fantastic week, and we'll talk soon. Peace.